You get Mike McCarthy, brought to you by Black Rifle Coffee, the official coffee of the Dallas Cowboys on DFW Sports Station. Good morning, Coach. We have to start off with an apology on our end. Do you know what it's for?
What'd you do now? I can't keep up.
You know. We really messed up. We really. I felt something was off last week, and then.
Yeah. Did it show in my voice?
It did.
Yeah, I was crushed.
Dang it! Damn it! All right, we're making it up with this song here.
Bad one.
Now, we did check in with two of your favorites. I don't know if you actually like the beer. We tried to check in with ILO's in Iron City, but I couldn't get the shipment sent on over there in time. I didn't know if Tad would hog it for himself in his office.
I think he did.
Yeah. All right. Well, we sent it. I
Plus,
think.
you couldn't expense it either. I don't know.
That's so. Coach, we officially apologize for missing the big 6-0. We feel bad about it.
That's okay. I got by without it, but I was shocked. I waited all the way to the end, and it just didn't happen. So I get it. You're busy men. You got a lot on your mind.
If you were on Facebook, this would be a lot easier. Now I have to put it like in my yeah. That's how people track birthdays. They don't really know when anyone's birthday is in the world. It's in your Facebook. So I kind of
Oh, is that right?
It's kind of your fault.
Yeah, you should have Facebook.
Always is. That's part of the job.
Mike McCarthy joining us here on DFW Sports Station 105.3 The Fan. Coach, I thought this was a great question to Dak yesterday. He said it was a great question. Is the offense in a zone, or is this the reality of what you guys are right now?
I think we're finding our stride, and I think that's something that you're always looking for as an offense, and the ability to keep getting the ball distributed. It starts up front. I think really, the thing that doesn't show up in the statistics, but is the continuity of the offensive line. I think those guys have really put in the work and are coming together now. Actually, the 5 offensive linemen were, they won the game balls for the offense, along with CD Lamb. So I think you're just seeing us kind of find our stride.
Great point. Dak had all day to throw. He obviously continues to be in a rhythm. I think we're guilty of, overlooking the offensive line continuity, and we just say, all right, the best 5 are out there. Finally, you got your full 5, and it'll be good to go. How long does that usually take with something like this? I know you want more continuity and the guys to always be healthy, but how long does it take for offensive linemen to all feel each other out on the same unit?
That's an excellent question. Because I know in the old training camp regiment, you're always looking for that offensive line to kind of come together before that third preseason game and make sure they get plenty of work. But when you go through a situation where you with injuries and you don't really have an opportunity, it's harder to get that time together. So it definitely takes multiple weeks. Just really for them to get their fits. I mean, so much happens up front. Yeah. And it happens fast, and it isn't like you can make a verbal call for every time you're making an adjustment. I mean, these things are, they're on the move. It's a reactionary and anticipation that it just takes reps, so it definitely takes a number of weeks.
Mike McCarthy here on The Fan. Speaking of O-linemen, some of these numbers are showing that Tyron Smith is still here, and some of his numbers have been dominant. Coach, when's the last time you've had a player with this current Tyron practice setup? Or is it way more common than we think, where it's like, all right, big man, just go ahead, take off the majority of the week in terms of the physical reps? When's the last time you've had that Tyron type setup?
Well, I mean, Tyron's still here working every day. I mean, he's just not involved in the padded practice and just keeping him out of the team activity just because of the type of, injury and situation that he's up against. But you're talking about a man that all he knows how to do is work. I mean, he's working all the time. So, but yeah, this is a normal practice. But I've always been the head coach of a relatively very young football team. So I'm just trying to think out loud here. if I've really had this situation before. But I've seen it in other places that I've worked. When you do have older established veterans, you definitely have to take care of them.
Coach, a lot of the numbers show, that since the bye week, you guys are passing more than expected in certain game situations. Was that planned, after the bye week to go roll that out, or is that something you just saw within the game against each individual team that you could take advantage of?
Well, I think just like every year, your first 4 or 5 weeks, it's part of that September football makeup. I mean, you have uncommon looks, especially if you're in technically a year one of an offense. So the defense doesn't really know exactly what your tendencies are and expectations, and so you do get to play with some open self-scout opportunities. So you definitely have to take care of that. But then after you get past weeks 4 and 5, and then and go back to September football, we had a number of games where we had to cut out the fourth quarter of I think 3 of the 4 games because of the type of games we were in. So I think just staying in tune with your self-scout and staying aggressive and watching the numbers. But at the end of the day, we want to make sure we're attacking the defense from the time we get on the field, and it's not just always just dictated based off of a pass is attack and a run is being conservative. So I think it's just really getting the ball distributed and playing behind this offensive line.
Is the same concept with using more shifts and motions, in the last couple of weeks? The kind of just a general progression of the offense through the year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you really it's all about our mindset of winning the pre-snap. I mean, you have a opportunity to win the pre-snap really 3 different ways that we focus on. One is different personnel groups, rolling them in and out. We did a lot of that in the first couple games. Second one would be playing with high tempo, which we did more of that in September. And then the third one is shifts in motion. So just trying to stay within those 3 realms and watching that. And a lot of that comes down to game plan and who you're playing against and what effect you're trying to get done and who do you think you can take advantage of.
What a great football answer. 1, 2, 3 on the bulletin board from Mike McCarthy. Coach, give us a little just generic 101 teaching on motion. We've now, us football nerds,
we've become experts on it.
We now just think, if you don't run motion, you can't score. You're not a good offense. The more motion, you're just automatically good. Can you talk to us about the pros and cons of motion?
Well, like I just said, it's really, to me, it's one of the 3 ways to win the pre-snap, and it's just like anything. You're trying to create a leverage point, or gaining a step on a coverage element. Just trying to get ahead of the leverage game that you're going to see from the defense. So, and that's what I think the biggest thing with shifts and motions. You got to watch you don't do too much of them. That's been my history. I know early in the 2000s, actually, my first year, 2000. In New Orleans, I was like crazy over the tops with shifts and motions, and what you find out is, you can wear out your players. So I think the biggest thing is it has to mean something. It's not just. There's some people that do both. They use the window dressing of it, and they also it's to gain an advantage. So we try to be real specific on when we use it and how we use it. Because I go back to a couple of years ago, we had a game. I think it was the first game of the year down there in Tampa. And Amari Cooper had this unbelievable GPS number, and we broke it down based, and there was so much shift in motion. So you just got to be, you got to be on top of those things, and that's what we try to do.
Did all of the quarterback greats that you've worked with prefer it, or more of a mix?
No. The veteran guys like Aaron Rodgers didn't like it, and Brett didn't like it. The reduced splits and so forth. I think the more experienced the quarterback is, this has been my experience, they prefer, the 2x2 open formations, 3x1 open formations, because they, because of their experience, they can see, they feel like they can see the coverage and anticipate the calls. I mean, they're just playing a different game at the line of scrimmage because of their experience. And, and also they, just trying to keep the pressure components further away from them. So, but that's why you just have to, you got to find that groove, and and then that's where, working with Dak is, he's pretty easy on these types of things. So, he's pretty wide, has a wide open mindset for the different types of things we like to do.
Mike McCarthy joined us here at 105 through the Fan. All right, Bryce Young. What was y'all's evaluation of him before the draft?
Oh, obviously had him very high. Had an outstanding career there at Alabama, and just the way he played the position. You can't argue with his production, his anticipation. He's a touch passer. I mean, he can put the ball in tight spots. So obviously felt very highly of him.
Have you changed your mind, Coach, on the smaller, high-pick quarterback, or are you still more old school with bigger stature, bigger arm?
I think today's game definitely has, you have to be open to that as far as the body type of the quarterback. But, I definitely, I'm a big believer in the quarterback body type has to give you the ability to play in the pocket and out of the pocket. So that's my preference.
So what you're saying is size matters.
Okay, come on now. The kids are listening.
Real quick, how long do you think before you can make a judgment on a player? Because people want to put this guy in the ground already.
Or a quarterback especially.
3 years. I mean, you got to be practical about this stuff. I think anytime, there's a lot of things that go on in this game, and when you have years in this league where you're always going to have injuries. It's just a matter of how many. Injuries are part of the game. And, when you're in the first year as a quarterback or first year as a staff and, you have a lot of injuries and there's a lot that goes on with that, that's a big, big challenge. So I think you got to be realistic about any young player's body of work because, there's nothing like playing on Sundays. As long as he keeps lining up every week on Sundays, I think he'll be the player everybody thought he'd be.
Yeah, Coach, what have you seen from his actual rookie year tape with Carolina?
Well, I think how they're using him. I think that's really obviously he's primary in the gun and in the pistol, and that makes sense. But it's just like anything. They're trying to find a rhythm, and they're obviously having change in play caller, changing back. So, that's always a bit of a challenge for any quarterback. So they're just trying to find a rhythm.
Last one, Coach, an former NFL sideline reporter got in a lot of hot water yesterday for admitting that she kind of made up some sideline updates, some halftime updates with talking to coaches during these games. Is that in-game interview the bane of your existence along with everybody else?
The bane of my existence?
Besides us, is that the bane of your existence? When they come to you before kickoff, they're live, like the Greg Popovich interview, or you got to talk going off the field, or you got to give the update coming out. I mean, all you guys just probably dread that, don't you?
I'll be honest with you. I just have always looked at it as it's part of the job. The network is a partner, and I always looked at it, try to work together. So I've always tried to give the reporter, something that's real and it represents our football team. I think anytime you talk about your team, you do care how it is represented. So, yeah, it's not very long. It's just a couple minutes, and it's as you walk in or walk out. So I don't dread it. They have a job to do, and I understand that. But sometimes, they may dread it more with me because obviously who wants to talk to a coach when things aren't going very well too, is walking in and out. So but yeah, no, I always looked at it as a working relationship, and those the ladies do a phenomenal job. They're prepared, and they got their 2 or 3 questions, and it's pretty seamless. It's been my experience.
Oh, I forgot my dumb question of the day. Greg Olsen and Burkhardt are going to work your guys' game for like the freaking 15th week in a row. And while doing the game, Dak was calling an audible, and I think it was false or something, or it was some F word, and he goes, all right, this is going to be a run left, and it ended up being a run left, and we were debating is that an issue? Is that something that needs to be changed? If Greg Olsen is like, all right, I know a couple of their audible calls because we've worked their game so much. What are your thoughts on that?
I need to talk to Greg.
Oh.
Hey, that's.
I'm helping you.
Yeah, Yeah, I got to get off this phone. I got to run down and change the cadence. But no, it's part of it. We listen to the audio after every game, so we're on top of it. But
and I know it's universal, Coach, because a lot of the commentators would be like, all right, normally a letter for this or that. I was just wondering, like, the defenses have to know that as well, universally throughout the league, not just you guys.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And defenses do an incredible job with it too. So I mean, you have to be creative with it. So no, that's great information. Thanks for helping out.
There's your birthday present.
Happy birthday,
Coach. Again, we apologize. We're sorry. We'll make it up for 70. All right, we'll make it up.
I don't know about that.
Can't wait for that one.
I like the way you're thinking. Yeah.
Thank you, Coach. We appreciate it. Fantastic.
All right, take care, guys.